So Marco, you got to start over right now with part 3. I screwed that whole thing up. And the last thing I would say, cut that part, Marco, and just start over.
Ask Alec.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Alec Torelli. Welcome back to an episode of Ask Alec. I got a question from Jerry here who asked me about quitting in poker and what's sort of my formula, right? Like, how do I go about deciding when I'm going to quit at the table? Do I have a certain amount where if I win this amount, I'm going to quit? Or do I have a certain time limit where I'm going to say if I play this long, I'm going to quit? Or what do I sort of do? So I've worked with a lot of clients. I've really helped a lot of people figure out exactly what the optimal time is to play for them, right? And what works best for them at the poker table. And while everybody has their own sort of custom formula, there is no one size fits all because everybody operates differently, everybody thrives on different things, and everybody has different like pain points that bother them at the table to get them off their game. So I work with everyone individually, but there are definitely some things that are patterns that I see throughout every client, myself included. I definitely am my own biggest self-experimenter, and that really I feel like are things, rules sort of, so to speak, if there are rules in poker that you should definitely follow. So here are sort of my rules for quitting and how I go about thinking about the process myself. And I would encourage you to take what I say, take what works and experiment with what works in your own game, right? So some of the things I say might not apply to you because you have a different personality type than me, or you thrive on different energy, you struggle with different triggers, etc. But experiment with everything and isolate variables individually and go through your sessions and see what works, right? So here are sort of my rules for quitting. Number 1 is if I ever feel like I have something that I'd rather be doing besides poker, I just get up and walk away. And that's probably the thing that like maturity has helped me the most with throughout the years. I'm almost 30. I've been doing this like since I was 16. And in the beginning, or even the first like 5-6 years, I would force myself to play, or there would be something else that I'd feel like doing. And I would just try to like override that with willpower, right? Or like just try to just force through it, right? Because, I got to get my hourly, I got to play the most amount of hours, I got to reach the long term and all that stuff. And I feel like that's been a huge cause of like stress and just like lack of enjoyment, right? Like, I mean, at this point, I'm fortunate to like not have to play unless I really, really want to play poker. And it's like, but even before, I feel like when I was trying to play to get my hourly in and really going to be like trying to grind as much as possible to make a lot of money playing the game, it was like, I feel like the quality of those sessions that I didn't feel like poker's my absolute number 1 priority was just so much lower. And those were the times that if I look back on all my records, like I said, I'm a self-experimenter, so I look back on all my records and I would actually measure like my enjoyment of being there and correlate that with my results. And there was like a serious correlation between enjoying poker, having it be my number 1 priority, and my win rate and my win rate in those sessions. So I feel like the quality over quantity approach has worked a lot for me, works a lot for my clients and students as well. And I would encourage you guys to experiment with that, right? So go for like, if you play 4 times a week, I would rather say go for 2 unbelievable A-game quality sessions and just knock it out of the park, and maybe skip those 2 that are like mediocre break even, or try and cut away those losses. I just tried this with a client last week, no joke. He literally emailed me and he's like, dude, I won 7 sessions in a row using some of the strategies that I'm talking about here as well. So it's pretty powerful stuff. It works for them. I encourage you guys to check it out, and I think it'll work for you as well. So that's number 1. Like the sort of like digression for that for a second is like, there's a way to sort of engineer how to make poker your number 1 priority by clearing other stuff off your plate and like working through the other things you have going on in your life and making sure there's a balance there. That's something I talk a lot about in my course, 4-Step Poker. I encourage you to check that out if something you want to like next level it with. But that's definitely something that's big, right? So making poker your number 1 priority involves planning to get to the point where you sort of engineer that process and experiment with what works for you and try and figure out ways that you can make sure that poker's really like always being an inspiration for you, not just something that's like a mechanical process. So number 2 is sometimes, this works for me when I'm playing in bigger games, works for some of my clients as well. Sometimes it's like when you're playing a game and you have like a win cap or a stop loss, I think those 2 things are important to consider. So the first one is a stop loss, and that's something that pretty much everybody should have. You only want to lose a certain amount of your bankroll in any one session because you never want to experience too much volatility. And let's be honest, you can say you're playing your A game after you lose 3 buy-ins, but you're not, right? I mean, it's just really, really friggin' hard to play your A game after you lose 3 buy-ins. I know even myself, I like practice a lot of this, and I really do everything to engineer playing my A game. After 3 buy-ins, some of the time, I'm off my game. It's just difficult to play when you're losing 3 buy-ins. I'll be honest. It's just, I'm a human. So some of the time when you have a stop loss, it prevents yourself from getting into that B, C, D level poker that really causes you just completely derail. The other thing is, like, even if you are playing your A game after 3 buy-ins, sometimes you just don't want to have a 6 buy-in downswing in one session because that'll mentally screw you up next time and affect your confidence, your ability to play your A game going forward, and those sort of things compound. So I think a stop loss is great. I would probably set it at 3 buy-ins. That's like the standard place to do it. But again, this is really customizable, and it's important to be aware of like how much your bankroll is, what your responsibilities outside of poker are, and how much risk and volatility that you can tolerate. The other thing is having a win cap. This is like part 2B, right? So a win cap is the opposite of a stop loss. If you have an amount of money that you win, that you're like, if I win this amount, I'm bailing, right? I win, let's say I buy in 500. If I win 1,500, I'm gone. That's fine too. Yes, you could be giving up some expectation by leaving money on the table, etc. But there's something to be said about booking wins. And I've had a lot of people that have had a lot of success with this because psychologically, underneath it all, psychologically, they get to the point where they're up, let's say 3 buy-ins, 1,500, we'll use that example. You're up 1,500 and you're like, start to hear the voice in your head say, you know, if I lose this money back, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be more upset if I lose than I am happy if I win. I start to play conservative because I'm up so much, I just wanna lock up the win. Then you start playing bad, then you get predictable, then you do something stupid, and then you lose the money back and you're more pissed at yourself that you didn't even quit to begin with. So I'm cool with having a win cap. I'm cool with giving up expectation in the name of booking a win. It also instills confidence, get progress going, especially when you're in a spot where you've kind of been stagnant in your career. I'm all about booking a win and having a win cap. I think that's a totally fine way to go about poker, even at the expense of leaving some equity on the table. I think it works for a lot of people. Again, experiment with what works for you. Third step, I would say, is if you ever are off your A game for any reason. This can include a lot of things, like you're tilting, you lose focus in the game. Of course, like we talked about before, you'd rather be somewhere else. But even like you're tired or you didn't eat well, you didn't exercise that day, and like you just don't have the stamina to be playing a long time. So that's like the third thing I would really challenge you to be really, really objective and introspective about, and just ask yourself every hour, am I playing my A game? Am I super focused? Am I dialed in like I was in the beginning? And you guys know, like, look, when you're playing your A game and you're super dialed in, it's like you can see the other people's cards, right? You're like unstoppable. You're just like, I just am in the zone, everything's happening, I'm in that flow state, whatever you want to call it, and I'm just crushing it, right? That's when magic happens. And so anytime I'm not in that state of like, you know, just like detecting every single movement that's going on and translating that and like reading the matrix sort of, so to speak, about playing poker, I'm just gone. It's just, I don't enjoy playing poker if it's not on that super high level, and I just out of there. So if I don't feel like I'm gonna have that, I don't even go to the casino that day, whatever. But if I'm definitely in a game and I feel like after 2 hours, I'm just not in that laser state, I'm gone as well. So number 4, the last thing I would say, like the big one for me that I've really worked on throughout the years, and I really feel like has been a huge one for me, is just been not letting poker completely dictate all the aspects of my life. And what that means for me is having it be one slice of the pie of my life, not the whole thing. So when I was playing in games in Macau, like really, really competitively all the time, it's like, it's so demanding. And I had to be like on call. It was like being like a firefighter, so to some extent. It's just like you got a call and you had to go. So your whole life, your whole day had to be engineered around being in like peak performance at any time that you could get called and go play a 24-hour session, right? So poker was so demanding, and I got used to like playing that way. And I would always, you know, like let my schedule be at the mercy of the EV in the game. So lately what I've been doing is just quitting any time that poker would be dramatically influencing my schedule. And the biggest way I measure that is my sleep cycle. So if I'm going to sleep every day at 11, getting up at 7, fine. If I'm playing poker and it's 9:30, like, you know, something extremely magical has to be happening for me to stay past that point, because I want to like get home, decompress, relax, and go to bed. So I'm not going to completely change my sleep pattern and try and get in an extra 3 hours of poker from like 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. and get 3 hours of EV in, and just like have my whole day tomorrow be derailed and different, and then have spend 2 or 3 days getting back on my routine and lose productivity elsewhere, and sort of like my routine and my enjoyment, my sleep cycle and whatever elsewhere at the expense of 3 extra hours of poker. So that's been like the fourth one for me, is just making poker fit into my life and the things that I want to do and the things I value, because that's really what poker's about. Like, poker's supposed to give you freedom, not take freedom away, right? You're not supposed to be a slave to the thing that's giving you the freedom that you're aspiring to have through playing poker. So that's been a big realization for me lately, and that's something I've been like really in a lot more control over. And I feel like all 4 of these things have helped my results go up dramatically. So it's like my winning sort of stays the same. I win a little bit more because maybe I'm quitting and not having those losing sessions. But the real key here is that you don't have those like huge downswings. This is one of the ways I really feel like, you can definitely have more control over your poker playing, control over your sessions and your bankroll, and really prevent those downswings and increase those upswings going forward. So if you like this stuff, I highly encourage you to check out more of my advanced content, 4-Step Poker. You can find it, the links below here, or alectorelli.com/4-step poker. I talk a lot more about this, how to engineer all these specifically into your own game and life and poker playing as well. And I've really noticed a lot of positive results, and I think you guys will as well. So check that out. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel, putting out a lot of new content soon. I'll see you guys next time on Ask Alec. Thanks for watching. Cheers.